Hello and welcome to the Bald Ambition podcast. I am your bald host, Mookie Spitz, and the two with ambition this Labor Day are Mr. Samir Duhmale and Andre Deleuze, co-founders of Talus. Welcome aboard, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Thanks for having us.
Nice to be here.
I think it being Labor Day here in the States is apropos. We are celebrating the working people of this country, as Bernie Sanders might say. And you two are experts in work, specifically the finding and vetting of top expert talent in the healthcare marketing and communication space. So I brought you on because that is arguably the largest white zone, the area of greatest need for American agencies. Agencies are their talent, and talent is what they do and bring to life science, pharmaceutical companies across the United States. And we need talent. And you gentlemen have found that talent and offer a scalable resource. Can you tell us a little bit about the company, yourselves, and why American agencies, American companies would be thrilled to give you guys a call?
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael. I guess the origin story of Talus is an important one because it kind of sets the context for how we came to have the idea and informed everything that we've done. So as you might have already figured out by our accents, that we are not from the States, but we are in fact from the United Kingdom. And my background specifically was in medical communications. I was at Open Health for roughly 10 years. And in that time, I saw very firsthand the importance of being able to scale and quickly find the right people for the right work, and how the challenges that were being we were having to overcome in those times were unnecessary in the world that we were living. The method with which we were finding the right people was archaic. It was often, who do we know? Does somebody know somebody who's available, who's maybe done this before? Or at the best of times, you might say, you know what, I have somebody at a recruitment agency who might know some people that can point us in the right way. And, each of those have their benefits. Of course, if you're working with somebody that you already know, great. But the network is naturally going to be very, very small. So you quickly outrun the size of your network, and you're left with very few options. And so sometimes people will go, okay, I'll go onto LinkedIn, but there's no verification that the people that I'm finding on LinkedIn are any good. And if they're available, have they got the right therapy area experience that I need? Have they done that project before? So you end up losing so much time trying to figure out where to find the right people and bring them on board, that sometimes your needs have already kind of evolved by the time you even find someone. So that is kind of the origin story and the birth of Talus and the reason why we exist. So we help find high quality freelancers quickly for our agency clients. Of course, there's two sides to the coin. So we're a platform, we're an end-to-end system. We've built this infrastructure that helps to find people quickly and activate them quickly. But there's also the freelancer side. We bring freelancers interesting, lovely work, introductions to new clients, and less admin and higher reuse as well. So it's certainly something that we've been focusing on a long time, and we've been able to actually improve the way that agencies are finding freelancers in some very key specific ways. But I'll let Samir introduce himself as well a little bit before we go into the more nitty-gritty of what we've been able to achieve so far.
Thanks. Yeah, it's once Andre starts talking about Talus, it's hard to get him to stop. So he dragged me into this world, actually. So based on the his lived experiences that gave rise to it, we discussed it. So before he was at Open Health, we were actually friends at university, and we would talk daily, and he would rant about this issue, and then we would discuss it more and more, and we thought, let's come up with a solution. My background since has actually been in academia before Talus, and since 2019, we've been working on this problem. So we've been working with various different suppliers, great suppliers. We started off actually building with freelancers. We thought that'd be quite a nice story, build a freelance platform using freelancers. Since then, the scale of the business has grown, so we were taking on a development company that can handle bigger projects. And the last 5 years, we've just been iterating on the platform itself. Because as Andre mentioned, there's sort of two arms to the business. We've got the network of freelancers that we connect with agencies, but of course, they're all supported and they're all sat on this platform. And that was quite a new area for Andre and I both. Neither of us are technical. So we've been working with some great people to put that space together to then allow that element of speed to come into play. So the platform is where the freelancers are housed. They have very detailed profiles. They can collect their endorsements that live on there as well. Contracting all runs through there. And we also offer a few other services to the freelancers, including invoicing. So all of that architecture sits behind the network, and together that is the power of Talus. It's speed and quality. That's the aim.
Excellent. And when you say freelancer, can you elaborate on the types of roles that you're making available and the types of companies, agencies eager to engage them?
Absolutely. So the freelancers that we have, we have freelancers across what we call areas of expertise. But if I were to group them generally for you, there would be the scientific services. So you're talking about all of the scientific services: publication writing, medical writing, copywriting, etc. You've got client and project services. So you've got account managers, project managers. You've got all of the creative and design and art needs covered as well within the freelance network. You've got quality control people who can be the editors, the proofreaders. You can even get freelancers just for specific small off tasks like Viva linking or reference checking. And then we have more senior, more encompassing consultants and strategists as part of our network as well. And so essentially the way that we have built the network, and this has evolved over time, is that with the key concept is that anything that a medical communications agency might need, we have a freelancer on the platform for. So we cover the entire breadth of what they need on any project across the entire life cycle of the pharma industry as well. That's another good way of thinking about it, is thinking about the pharma life cycle. So if you're talking about pre-launch, launch, and post-launch, all of those capabilities are covered within our network. We also have something kind of unique to our bow, to our strings, which is the fact that we have freelancers in 7 geographies as well, 7 geographic areas. So we cover the entirety of Europe. We cover the United Kingdom, obviously, Canada, US, Australia, New Zealand, and India. And the reason we have those geographies, of course, is because they're all English speaking and work in English, but also because they provide a really great geographic coverage, time zone coverage that allows people, our clients, to deliver work around the clock 24/7. So that is a big benefit that our activating our freelance network brings to our clients. But it also brings an additional advantage, which is their ability to access talent that understand local compliance and regulatory needs. So if you have, for example, a US agency who just won an EU account or UK-based account, they can very quickly spin up a team in that geography that understands how that geography works, what are the nuances, what are the specificities of that geography, and be able to start delivering work for their clients very, very quickly. And that obviously gives these agencies a leg up versus maybe some of their competition, and the ability to deliver faster and better for each of their clients is something that everybody's striving for.
So it sounds like you're solving 2 problems with one fell swoop. as an agency veteran spending some time in the trenches, problem number one is bench. It's expensive and it's not really scalable. We used to joke that we're one phone call away from winning $1 million sleeve of business or losing it, which explains some of the stress factors. But that aside, scalability is vital. So it sounds like you've created a platform ripe with roles across the full spectrum, the full range of needs for pharma, for life science companies and their agencies. And these folks can be activated quickly and efficiently and at scale. And the other challenge that you seem to be able to address is locality. So global business is an epic opportunity. We used to say US and OUS, which illustrates really the American sensibility that it's us and really the rest of the world. So for OUS business, Talus sounds like an excellent opportunity to activate talent for a business development opportunity, market research, local work. Most of the American agencies have offices, OUS, but the footprint is always insufficient. And there's always that need for more talent in more places.
Absolutely. Yeah. And a little bit on the talent is because the equality is everything, actually. It's quite central to what we do. There's no point providing these agencies with people quickly if they're no good. So there are a few steps that the freelancers must go through in order to be verified in the network. We've had multiple thousands of people sign up. To date, there's 415 verified active, freelancers. So in order to get through the network, they must pass through these hoops. So first off, they need to have minimum of 2 years experience within the healthcare communication space or pharmaceutical space, just so there's a general understanding of the terminology and the requirements of a freelance role in this sector. Then they must back that up with a very detailed freelance profile that we individually review. Now, this is a very bespoke and specific profile, so you'll find a lot more information on there beyond LinkedIn that is specific to medical communications, healthcare communications. And in there, you'll find different projects that they have experience in delivering, general CV information, about me section. Most importantly, though, 2 endorsements as well. So these endorsements are the final hurdle of the verification process, and they need to be endorsed by 2 previous clients or colleagues that they've worked with in the space. So these endorsements can be quite detailed. The free text from a previous client, they'll endorse them for specific projects that they've seen them work on, or in areas of expertise, so medical writing, publication writing, etc. And those also live on the profile for prospective clients to see. So when you work with the Talus freelancer, you hit the ground running with a little bit of confidence that this person knows what they're talking about. They've been in the sector for a while. They've done their projects before, and someone from the sector has also validated that information. Within the profile too, for example, therapy areas, it's useful to hit the ground running with someone who may have specific expertise, not just in the project, but they have therapy area knowledge too. So you can go into a little bit of information, find out how many years, for example, they have within that particular therapy area. So we're trying to really give the client some confidence in who they're choosing. Of course, we always recommend the interview too, because there's that cultural fit that you can't see within a profile. But that's also part of what we're trying to do as well, just to try and improve that confidence in selection.
Pain point number 3, in addition to scalability and locality, is speed. So if I'm in an agency and I've got a project and I need to ramp up with the right local talent, I'm going to need this quickly. And one of the major ancillary problems to that is the arduous onboarding process, both in terms of bureaucracy as well as training. How have you guys addressed that common hurdle?
Well, in terms of speed, there's a few ways that we address it. I mean, the first most time-consuming aspect that we've heard from our clients is actually being able to find somebody who can do it and who's available and they can trust. So we've reduced the average time it used to take. So doing a bit of market research, talking to a few clients, we kind of got to the metric that it used to take roughly 3 days to be able to find somebody who might be good if you found them at all. And we've reduced from 3 days to 3 hours. So on the platform, you can find an available freelancer on average within 3 hours. Sometimes it's much faster than that. And in over 90% of cases, you'll be able to find them in under 24 hours. So we really are increasing the speed at which you can find the available person. And then from the moment that you've picked from those that are available, on the platform, it takes 5 minutes to progress to the job being active and you being able to begin working with that freelancer. The onboarding process that you take on will vary, of course, depending on the specific projects or accounts or needs that you have as the agency, and you have full control over what that would look like as an agency. So some of our agencies tell us that people have to, have a call and then they have to be loaded onto their system and have to be sent a laptop. And so those processes can either remain unchanged or can be expedited through our platform so that you can start much, much faster. The other way of thinking about the resourcing challenges is not only do you have the ability to spin up an entire team to deliver an entire project and work with them for a longer duration of time, in which case onboarding is very, very important. But you can also access talent for the smallest of tasks if you need them at any point in time. So imagine that you had a new account, you spun up a team of freelancers and in-house experts. You guys are delivering very well, but there is a big congress coming and you just need a bit of extra support last minute to be able to get the uploads done or to get the decks formatted or whatever it might be. You can go from not having anybody to do that extra work to having somebody working on it actively in an average of 3 hours, get the job done, and the contract closed with that particular ad hoc support freelancer. So that's really where speed we've seen most of our clients really start to benefit from. That flexibility, the ability to address those last minute challenges that used to keep me up at night is really the strongest thing we have.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you address these needs both from the top down and the bottom up. So what you just mentioned is a bottom up solution. It's ad hoc, it's incremental, it's transactional in the sense that I might even need a white paper annotated. Yeah. Many times writers have delineated these roles of footnoting and some of the air quote grunt work. You still need an expert, you still need a medical writer, but your in-house person is, I'm not going to do that. So they could literally summon somebody within 3 hours to take care of business in a way that's thoroughly professional and vetted and problem solved. And conversely, from the top down, I'm assuming that you have the scalable opportunities for benching, let's say, an OUS business pitch. So I've been on many of these. And the challenge is, again, there might be that office in London. There might be that office in Barcelona or Paris, but we really don't have boots on the ground sufficient to address a full-scale campaign in the EU, maybe even global. And a prerequisite in the RFP is that kind of critical mass. So if I'm understanding you correctly, with almost equal agility, a project lead or the business development manager in an agency could go to your platform, engage with you, and find key talent with which to, in a sense, populate that pitch. White labeling, frankly, happens all the time. And there could be an opportunity, again, from just a bodies in the room point of view, all the way to conducting market research, which is a big deal too. What's compliance like? in France. And we know that in the EU, it
Yeah.
varies country to country and sometimes
Yeah.
significantly. If you're doing
Very
work
much
in the
so.
Middle East, that's an entire different beast, let alone Asia. So sure, you could chat GPT this stuff, but it really boils down to local talent who've been doing this work, are vetted, and are able to really fill that need at scale, locally, quickly.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Michael. That's very well put. You know, having the ability to be able to rely on talent that has the expertise in exactly the areas that you need it only and if you need them is essentially a thing that we see our clients use. When it comes to new business, we can have freelancers work across the entire spectrum. You know, you could have freelancers who are experts, who have big agency experience, have loads of understanding of the pharmaceutical market to help your agency create their new business strategy and positioning. And so a very much internal focused project, to working very, very closely with you for a pitch. They could be either the geographic experts because they have understanding of the compliance and they're your bench in that region, or they could be the therapy area experts who could provide you with that, you know, not only therapeutic understanding, but how does that apply to that healthcare system in that locale. So they could work very closely with you from that insights perspective, which we know is critical for any proposal and pitch. They can go to the pitch with you, and then once you win the business, they can help you deliver the business. And you have not only the core people that you built the pitch with, you then have an entire army of freelancers behind them that can come in at a moment's notice to help deliver on the ground. So yeah.
And there's also to back that up, there's all the linguistic information we possess on the platform and on the profile. So if you are needing, you know, people with different language abilities to go and attend congresses, you know, with skills outside of your own internal teams, you can send the freelancers on the platform. We've actually done that very recently. Send the freelancers that are located nearer to those events, and then get that work feeding back to you without, you know, having to send people abroad at a moment's notice.
Yeah. And for US agencies, you know, sending people to go to a European-based conference to cover, you know, a handful of posters and a couple of sessions, you know, is a quite a big expense, you know. And
Yeah.
of course, there's a benefit to the agency to be able to say, you know what, we have people who are an hour away from Paris, where this conference is going to take place, who can
Yeah.
go there and write up the report and cover what you need to cover without that massive expense that maybe my competitor will have. So, you know, that's a big benefit. That flexibility can manifest itself in so many different ways. We've seen it happen in so many different ways that the examples are kind of endless. But that's the concept of what we're building and what we'll continue to build, because there's more and more coming.
Yeah, and we actually take a lot of that workload off the agencies, which I think surprises some people. I think they see the word platform and they think, okay, you create an account, you log in, and then you're sort of left with this environment to figure out just another one. We're very hands-on, so actually we do a lot of the legwork for the clients in the background, even putting together teams to go and, for example, one example. From late, there was a client needing 20 odd posters. We put together some writers and some designers and an account manager on as one project to deliver that with a quick turnaround time, and it worked really well. And that's the sort of thing that we do. We're very people, even though it's a tech platform, it's a digital business. You know, we're very people led. We're very hands on, very behind the scenes active. So it's something that we always try. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can do as much of the work as you need ahead of time as well. So if I were a US-based agency and I'm looking ahead at my new business goals for that year, and I'm seeing, okay, I've got maybe some pitch opportunities here, there, and there. These are the therapy areas that I'm interested in focusing on this year. These are some of the types of work that I'm going to be looking at. What does my team look like comparatively to what I'm aiming to go and get? And how can I, ahead of time, start to pre-identify the experts that are either in these geographies or in those therapy areas, so that I've already built my bench? And so that's what we call the personalized directory on the platform, where you can ahead of time already pre-select and annotate the individual people that you like the look of to be able to access at a moment's notice when that work does come in. Because typically it's pitch arrives on, the RFP arrives on Monday. On Friday, you need to be able to put the proposal together and send it out. So that work can all be done ahead of time. And we spend quite a lot of time with some of our big clients building out those personalized directories with them, understanding their needs in detail so that we can provide recommendations. We've, of course, seen loads of freelancers, the work that they've done, the feedback they've received from other clients. So when Samir says hands-on, it's not just about being able to fulfill a need that you have, but it's actually being able to be your partner, to be able to build so that you're ready when your new business needs it.
So it sounds like you guys are strategic consultants too. It's not just making profiles available of talent across different categories and disease states, but you actively work with clients to identify and address staffing needs proactively, as you just mentioned, and even retroactively to fill, let's say, a big win that an agency has. Another challenge on the other end is, okay, so you go and pitch some terrific OUS business and you won it. Now, how are you going to actually do the work?
Mm.
Yeah.
And in agencies, again, where bench is so expensive and scalability is so important, it's very reassuring to know that you win that OUS business and within hours they could talk to you. You could discuss what the overall needs of that campaign will be. And agencies, again, plan 30, 60, 90, Q1, Q2, Q3. If they're agency of record, which would be the case usually, then they're budgeting over the year. They've got a set number of hours delineated by role. And it's really a matter of populating that spreadsheet to ensure that the talent is there, that the billable hours could be addressed, and to do so seamlessly without interruption or pause, or most significantly, concern on the part of the client. What happened? This is bait and switch. You guys assured us that you had local talent, that you could get the job done. And how come we're waiting? How come you don't know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's one thing off the back of what you just said is reminded me to kind of highlight one behavioral shift we're seeing, particularly with the UK clients we work with, and that is that previously it seemed agencies, if you're bringing on freelancers, your understanding is that you need to find enough work for them to warrant a 3-month contract or a 6-month contract or a 9-month contract or whatever it may be. It was always a fairly long relationship you were setting up. On Talus, because of the speed, the way that we do the contracting, once you've found someone, you can ad hoc use them, in a way that's fit. So we see briefs going through for 15 minutes, half an hour here, 2 hours there. It doesn't need to be anything more than that. So it doesn't have to be a day. It doesn't have to be a month. And I think just giving the agencies some reassurance that they have experts they can just dip into, it really is just dipping in here and there. Of course, for some projects and for some accounts, consistency is very helpful. It's very necessary. And the relationship also, we support those longer term relationships. But for that very ad hoc work that relieves a lot of pressure, that's been, I think, a major success of what we've done so far. So we try and highlight that is possible. I think some agencies just don't think that's possible, but we've seen it happen.
And there's a benefit to that.
I was just going to say it's a crawl, walk, run beginning of a relationship, especially with U.S. agencies. So we just met you. We love your accents, but we've never really worked together. So how does this shake out? And if you take an incremental phased approach, starting with smaller asks, and you guys deliver to satisfaction, that's assuring. And then that could ramp up to more strategic, broader, scalable opportunities down the line.
That's right. And it also allows you to try more people and be able to kind of cast the net wide without risk, to be able to find the people who fit best with either the client, with either the therapeutic area, with either the deliverable, or with your internal teams. So it's about finding the best fits. So we've seen clients before, they loved the first few freelancers that they worked with, but then they tried a couple of others that they were like, oh my God, this guy blew me away with the level of insights and how far they went above and beyond with the work. We actually started working more with this freelancer, not because they didn't like the previous freelancer, but because the new freelancer who maybe wasn't available the first time was actually the better choice when they became available later on. So it's about being able to keep your options open, but still creating strong relationships with the freelancers and having that ability to tap into them when you need them. Yeah.
I'm assuming the converse is also true, because humans like working with familiar humans. So if they contract a freelancer through you, it's a satisfactory relationship, the job's done well, then they know when they reach out to Talus, they might ask for a specific expert, right? That's only natural. We loved working with Stephen or Susan. And if they're available, bring them back in. And I'm sure that probably happens frequently too.
Exactly. And
we're
trying to create a bit of an environment where freelancers can collect this good feedback too, because of course they work very much in isolation, and they're trying to establish freelance careers and grow as a freelancer. So on Talus, we allow them we provided the infrastructure to collect these reviews that also live on their profiles, almost like an Airbnb, Uber star rating. They've got a breakdown of their overall performance with each client, and it's actually been quite useful for both sides. The freelancers that have performed well consistently, they're collecting more work options, so it's been quite a positive thing to see.
So they come with their own Yelp reviews. They've got reviews, they got stars, right? And then they have, most significantly, testimonials, which is I've worked with this person. I'm going to put my own reputation behind that, and bravo, right?
Absolutely, that's correct. Yeah.
Let me ask you real quick about after a role is thought about, the close number two is disease state experience. And now if we look at it in a broad kind of way, the good old days of the pharma blockbuster has shifted, and I think bifurcated to mega blockbusters, the GLPs, for example, the weight loss drugs, mega billions, right? So 80-90% of budgets sometimes go there. And then you have the long tail of orphan disease state treatments. You've got nuanced immunotherapeutics. You've got really tweaky subpopulations, and they're a brunt of pharmaceutical focus, life science focus is there. So again, big picture, you've got a handful of blockbuster drugs, and then you've got a slew of smaller treatments for smaller target populations. As we make sense in ways, we're going toward personalized medicine,
personalization, exactly,
personalized care. The Human Genome Project is starting to pay off a little bit, right? We're able to create drugs that are down to the individual. And this, if nothing else, accentuates the agency need for, surprise, nuanced expertise. Oncology. You don't just want an oncology expert. You want an expert in pancreatic cancer. You don't just want an expert in pancreatic cancer. You want an expert in pancreatic cancer who does the immunotherapy for pancreatic cancer. And then you keep slicing and dicing from the agency point of view. And I'm tacitly assuming that since you guys have a database, you're able to slice and dice this nuanced expertise to best align talent with need. Is that true?
That's exactly.
Is that true?
It's exactly right. And we've gone as far as not only collect which therapeutic areas they have expertise in, which disease states they have experience in, but how many years they have in each therapy area and what is their level of proficiency within that. So are they experts? Are they proficient? Are they novice? And how many years of experience do they have in that? So we have a definition for each of those, what it means, the recency of the work is part of that definition, and the years of experience are, of course, an important part of that. And you add, for example, a recent one was, breast cancer has always been, as far as I've been involved, splits, and recently we had a need in breast cancer, but it had to be HER2 positive breast cancer specific experience. So it's not about just searching for who has experience in oncology and who has experience in breast, but who has experience in HER2 positive breast cancer. And then, of course, once you reach out to those freelancers that have already predetermined that they have experience in those therapeutic areas, you understand, okay, which therapies did they work with, and were they immunotherapies, or were they the older generation of medications? So, there's that level of granularity. You can go right down into the weeds with it to find the right people.
Exactly. And this is the power of the profile, because you can take that level of detail that Andre just mentioned, and then you can add that you need Spanish speaking abilities, and then you want them to be client facing. You can chop it all up on the profile, and that's how you get down to that level of individual that you're looking for quite quickly, backed up by the endorsement. So that was the idea. That's all feeding into that speed element.
Yeah. And it keeps evolving, so the more we hear, the better. Yeah. Exactly.
And if I'm seeking talent, it's really multivariate in that exact way. Mm-hmm. And it just gets more and more personalized. So we're in the era of personalized medicine. Mm-hmm. We're in the era of dynamic content. And I hate to even say the words AI.
Yeah.
Every time someone says AI on a podcast, writes it in an article, I know we're discussing healthcare now, but you need to do a shot or
exactly.
or something, because it's gotten to the point of ubiquity, and ubiquity engenders ridiculousness and hype. But the challenge that I'm facing, and I think that everyone faces, is that you could keep frothing at the mouth about AI, but it is transformative. We are living in an AI revolution. So I know that investors are basically, throwing darts at their investment portfolio at midnight with the lights off, and it doesn't matter, because trillions of dollars are flowing into both the chips that power it and the GPTs that run it. But how are you guys looking at, I'm going to say it one more time, AI, in a way where you could optimize some of this stuff, and it obviously fits your model of deep alignment between agency need, nuanced agency need, and nuanced personalized expertise?
Yes, exactly. So, it's obviously a big question, because it is so ubiquitous and it can apply in so many different ways. And AI would probably be an entire podcast in its own right.
That's why I didn't even want to bring it up, but I had to.
But if I
sorry,
no problem. If we focus on what it can do on the platform for our clients, and how it can change that, we've just embarked on the integration of artificial intelligence into the searching. So the level of nuance that we've just discussed is already possible on the platform, but it's going to be upgraded so much more in the very, very near future. So we are looking at the ability to say, describe in a few words the person or the job or the need that you have, and then the system will rank order the freelancers, bearing in mind that nuance, having learned what makes a good match between your need or the person you're looking for and the freelancer's profile, and show you the top 10, give you a score of confidence for that search, and an explanation as to why that profile matches that search. If you need to redo the search or add more or change it, you can always do that. And it essentially helps you to not have to go through many different profiles to find the right people. You can simply type in what you need. It shows you profiles that match it best. You look at those 5 or 10 profiles and you make your pick from there. So it's really about streamlining that even further. So we're excited about that coming soon, and then being able to evolve over time. So as new needs come on board, it's faster and easier for us to be able to identify the right people for that need.
Yeah. Talus GPT.
Talus GPT.
There you go.
You heard it here first.
And we've also so that's again focusing on the search function for the agencies. We also are aware that we want our freelancers to feel, supported and upskilling in the AI area. So we are offering training through the platform. So expertise or domain specific training for them to go in. They can sign up to different modules and they can essentially just develop their skill set, because of course when you jump out of the agency environment, you go freelance, it's very easy to then get bucketed into one area. You do the same rinse and repeat role, and it can probably get a bit boring. And with the looming AI kind of
shift
storm coming, we want to make sure we're also supporting that side of the marketplace. We're not just doing things to bring in clients, we're also doing a lot to try and support the freelance network that we have on the system too.
And that's important for our clients as well, because it's not just about the freelancers and what they're interested in, but it's how do those freelancers continue to deliver great work for the clients. And we've, over the last few months, been speaking to quite a few of our clients, different agencies, big and small, and there is obviously a spectrum of opinion as to what's going to happen in the sector. But mostly what we're seeing is that those that have the ability to use artificial intelligence to become more productive and deliver higher quality work will have an advantage. Whatever that advantage looks like, how much of an advantage, nobody really knows. We will see. But that's why we are ensuring that our network is ready to operate and work within and with the artificial intelligence world that's coming. So it's an important continually developing thing that we're doing. We started it fairly recently with our freelancers, and so it's something that's going to evolve fairly quickly and start to see some benefit for our clients. The human-led approach to AI is what we think will probably be the most beneficial for our clients.
So your approach to AI is twofold. On the one hand, regarding your interface, the search functionality, like Samir mentioned, making it intuitive, natural, like, again, the Talus chatbot. I need so and such talent, expertise in this or that disease state, fulfilling this or that role, an account person, a project manager, a writer, creative person, what have you. And there it is, just like a prompt response reaction. And conversely, on the database side, on the talent side, you're empowering your own people, your own experts and freelancers with AI so that they're using it, to your point, Andre, in a human-centric way. It's not like you hire a writer from Talus and they know how to prompt GPT for a journal article. No, but they know how to expeditiously improve the quality and efficiency of their work by using the LLM tools that are now ubiquitous, but you really need expertise in order to use them well, use them properly and appropriately.
Yeah. And it's the expert who's using AI that's most valuable. So you still need the expert in order to use the tool to be able to give you the best possible result. And there'll be many things that will change in the near future as to how pharma companies allow artificial intelligence to be used, which ones allow them, which tools can be used, how does the legal ramifications of all of that work. But, those who know how to use the tool will be ready to use it when they need to.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, back to your English accents. We always say in the States that it doesn't even matter what you say, but if you say it with an English accent, it's already paid attention to and brings with it a level of sophistication. But that said, you guys are a UK-based company. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay, so right now, and again, I'm just addressing a potential objection on the part of agencies, which is we've got trade chaos happening here in the
Yeah.
United States, regardless of which side of the political aisle you sit on. As a business planner, it's wild. We don't know what tariffs are going where, to how much, which country. They're perpetually now in flux and decided on a whim. These are just facts. And I know that there's been an arrangement with the UK and the EU. The UK a little bit more solid than the EU, but everything is just kind of up in the air. But you guys are providing a service, not a product. So I would tacitly assume that interacting with you isn't encumbered by the trade, the US induced trade chaos. Is that correct? Just to assure listeners that picking up the phone, emailing you guys being OUS doesn't mean that it's going to be a tariff nightmare, because the rules frankly don't apply to services.
That's exactly right. That's the current play. So, services don't apply, goods apply. The tariffs. So services, we're fine in that regard. And in some cases, we actually see that it's actually, when it comes to what type of engagements the US agencies are entering into with OUS freelancers, it actually is, from a compliance perspective, maybe a little simpler than having a US to US. So there's a form you fill out at the beginning. There's some rules around the invoice, what needs to be stated where. But it's kind of a 1-2 step, and then you're done. You don't have to worry too much. And then there's of course, looking at cross-border relationships with freelancers. There's also the benefit when it comes to cost in that relationship as well. So that's something we see our clients making use of as well. Sometimes the US is currently the most expensive market for hiring freelancers. So the US freelancers are the most expensive in our network. And when US agencies can and need to use freelancers in other geographies, they have that extra benefit of not having to pay so much for each hour of work that's delivered. So we see some benefit there and some flexibility happening there, depending on the client and depending on their needs. Sometimes they just have US clients, they prefer to work with US people. And that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, there's always the option. There's always a benefit there.
Great. So minimal bureaucracy. There might even be an implicit compliance advantage of bringing in local talent as opposed to US talent. And in terms of cost, billable hours, hourly rates, sounds like you guys have made yourself competitive, especially for US markets where it's top dollar, as we know, average agency rate is up there.
That's right. I mean, we are always cognizant that we need to make sure that the rates that are paid to the freelancers are fair and high and attract high quality people. So it's a balancing act on our side, but we make sure that the rates on both sides, freelancer and client, are good, are fair, and provide each side with benefits. So freelancer side, there's a security there with what your rate's going to be. There's a consistency across the different clients, and with agencies, there's the choice of which geography to plug into and which areas of expertise to use. So that flexibility can be quite useful depending on the situation.
That's terrific. It sounds enticing. That's why I brought you guys on. When I heard about you, it just fulfills so many implicit needs and pain points, especially for the US life science, pharma, communications situation, just because of all of these factors. And again, just to summarize, scalable solutions, even immediate ad hoc needs that need fulfillment. You guys bring unprecedented local talent, and you have that level of expertise and convenience that would make an agency person's life a lot easier. Are you also working direct to client it's the DTC of the business world, where where pharmaceutical companies, life science companies, they are tending toward creating their own in-house marketing and communications capabilities. Are you interacting with companies directly? Is it part of your
No,
plan, or does it short circuit the broader agency model?
it short circuits the broader agency model in our view for the moment. So we are focused on the agencies as our clients, not the pharma companies. We may have one or two conversations with a small biotech who's trying to get a single project off somewhere. But 99.9% of our clients are agencies. So that's where we focus. That's our expertise as well. That's our background. That's what we understand. That's what it's built for. And so that's what it's going to be.
Sounds great. So if I'm an agency guy, I am running a new business pitch with an OUS opportunity. I just won a sleeve of OUS business, or for that matter, business here in the States. And I'm kind of freaking out. I've got my spreadsheet, and I've got X hours needing X lines of talent, and some of them are empty. Maybe a lot of them are empty. How does one go about contacting you guys, engaging with you guys? We could put links of everything that you mentioned in the podcast description for people to reach out to you directly. But what does that onboarding process look like?
Yeah. Well, it's designed to be as seamless as possible. So, first step, you can create an account on the website. We'll share a link after this. It's a 2-minute process for the client profile. So, once that account is created, we'll see that pop up on our side. All we ask of the client is to understand which contracts they would like to use between them and the freelancer. So Talus is not a party to that arrangement when they connect with a freelancer. So they can either use their own that they're currently using, an NDA and a job contract, as we refer to them as, or they can use our default contracts. Once we know which one of those they're using, we verify their account and they have full access. There's no subscription. There's no setup fees. There's no ongoing costs. It's just straight through access to the open verified network. They can reach out to freelancers immediately. They can request their availability. They can message them. They can send them briefs, or they can reach out to us directly. And we always prefer to give them an introduction anyway. Tell them about the services of Talus, introduce them to the leadership team. And then also we'd like to have that time just to get to know how the agency works anyway. What therapy areas are they working in? What kind of jurisdictions are they happy choosing freelancers within? What sort of timelines are they working on? Get to know the team a little bit. And that allows us to sort of feed into their resourcing plans, be a little proactive with what we offer them. And that's kind of that's the approach we go through. Yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys for your time. I know that I am now on PST, so I am in lovely California, and you guys are what, 8 hours ahead of me, I believe, in
8 hours. Yeah.
in England. Okay, so thank you for making time later this Labor Day,
Yes.
and I wish you guys the best of luck. Maybe in 6 months, a year, we could check back in to see how the model is flourishing, what kind of insights you've picked up, additional best practices, share maybe a case study or two if you would like, and take it up where we left off. Because once again, the number one challenge for agencies, and I know this having worked at a bunch of them, is talent. How do you find and retain talent? How do you staff up, staff down? And most significantly, how can you guarantee to your clients that you're getting the right type of talent in this highly nuanced, highly expert field? I mean, think about it. You need expertise in the science, the communications, oftentimes the technology. You have people who are working in social media channels, which are delicate in terms of the communication and regulatory environment. They're working with data. They're addressing sensitive subject where lives are literally at stake. When we're in healthcare, we're not selling shoes or even automobiles, but people's health are at stake, and you can't compromise on talent. And that's what makes this so very difficult. And it sounds like you guys are helping fulfill that need.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us on.
Thank you so much for that. Take care. And thank you for listening to the Bald Ambition podcast. I'm your host, Mookie Spitz. Thank you to Samir and Andre. And like, listen, share, and check those links out in the description to reach out directly to these gentlemen and their platform for what could be a very viable and effective and beneficial hiring solution for your agency.